just some new books that I recently bought or came by, just because I love books and I feel like if this channel lasts a long time, I will probably be making a lot of videos about books and maybe reading some books, making a series. I have a lot of projects, and obviously not everything is going to be about books. I'm also really into D&D, so I might make some D&D triggers videos, or D&D inspired videos, and just probably random triggers sometimes, or just rambling about stuff I like, maybe some roleplays. I have a friend who really wants to make a Doctor ASMR roleplay, so lots of projects, but just for this sort of test video, I thought I would be just showing off some books, because that's what I like, and that's sort of what I'm here for. Rambling about books. The first book I wanted to show you is this book, and obviously you can't see anything because the cover is black. It used to have a jacket, but I took it off because I always do. But this book is called The Salt Grows Heavy by Cassandra Carr. Don't know if you can see anything there, it sort of glimmers. A very pretty book. And it's about a mermaid and a plague doctor that travel together, and they are trying to save this group of children in a mysterious forest. And I'm not going to be saying a lot more, just in case you want to try to read it. It's fairly short. It's only I think around 100 pages. 128 to be precise. So it's fairly short. It's really good. The writing is very sophisticated, I would say. Which, if it's not your thing, that's fine. I like it. Maybe you won't, but I really loved it. And there's this gorgeous art, which, again, not very relaxing, sorry. I am into more joyful books as well, but this one wasn't, and it was really good. But let's move on to another book that I really liked. This one was not recently at all. It is called A Taste of Honey by Kai Shanti Wilson, as you can see here. And this one is more, it's fairly short. And it's a fantasy book. And the colour's very soft. I get absorbed by my own. Yeah, the cover is very short. Very soft, not short. The book is short. Anyway, but it's a fantasy book that takes place in a very non-conventional sort of universe for a fantasy book, I would say. And it's mostly a love story between a young member of somewhat a noble family, but not very important. So there's this young noble who's been very sheltered, and he falls in love with a foreign soldier, even though he knows that the foreign soldier will have to leave it's not the original cover. I sort of put the book in this leather cover. I'm gonna have to stop brushing the mic every time I try to tap something. I'm sorry, this is my first ASMR video again, so making mistakes, learning, growing, hopefully. Anyway, a very beautiful leather cover, not originally included in the book, and the book is the complete works of Ramble, which is, if you don't know, a French poet. I do speak French, so it is a French edition, as you can see, and it contains all of his works, which were very groundbreaking at the time, but mostly they're very beautiful, and I enjoy reading them once in a while. But again, not very joyful. I don't have that many joyful books planned today. I'm sorry. I think even when they're not joyful books help a lot. So don't think this is because I'm not a positive person or whatever. Anyway, there we go. The next book is actually supposed to be pretty joyful because it is a comedy by William Shakespeare, and it is Twelfth Night, with some sticky notes because I studied it in uni. A very, very chunky edition, but not even half of this is the actual text, because there's always like the introduction and the conclusion and the notes and everything, which makes it easier to read when you realize that. Actually, I'll show you. So this is the full book, right? Okay. The introduction lasts until this page. So all of this is the introduction. So, you know, it helps. Anyway, I think it's a wonderful book because it's still very funny once you get to appreciate it, and very overanalyzable, which is something English lit scholars all enjoy very much. But I don't know, it's really the best of Shakespeare, I think, and also it talks about gender in Elizabethan times, which is always fun to me, anyway. But yes, I will not dwell much more on that because I'm sure it's a very well-known book and everyone knows about it. But the next book I wanted to show you guys is this book. It's called Let Us Believe in the Beginning of the Cold Season. Let us begin. Nope. Sorry, I was trying. Let Us Believe in the Beginning of the Cold Season by Farrokhzad. And it's been translated from Persian by Elizabeth T. Gray Jr. And I just read that on the back of the book. But yeah, it's been translated from Persian. And I think I haven't read the original because I'm unable to, but I think the translator did a wonderful job because some of these poems are just so beautiful and resonate with me so much, and I cry every time I read it, which always means that it's a very good book to me, anyway. But yeah, it's Okay, moving on. The next book I wanted to show you guys, again, is a classic that probably, well, that I'm sure everyone knows about. It is Dracula by Bram Stoker. This is the Oxford World's Classics edition. Because again, I had to study it in university, as everyone had to, I'm sure. Well, everyone who studied English did. Anyway, get this. I mean, it's a classic, so it's not very original to say that it's an interesting and groundbreaking book, but I am a horror fan, and a literature fan, and an English horror literature fan, so I just have to like it. It's mandatory. But also for a similar reason to the reason I like Twelfth Night is I love reading old or old-ish books that talk about gender and maybe like gender non-conforming characters and sexuality, and even if it's in like not very straightforward terms, I just love seeing that that sort of thing has always existed. So this is one of the reasons I like this book. The other one is I love vampire stories. Who doesn't love a good vampire story, right? And this one has sort of inspired them more after it went out, obviously, because there's been some vampire stories before this that have inspired Bram Stoker, but after this one, it was all there, just the mothership of all vampire stories, so, you know, I kind of had to include it in this video. And also, it's way too late now, but one of my ASMR projects for maybe next year if I still have this channel, hopefully, is to follow along with Dracula Daily, which I don't know if you've heard about it. Maybe you obviously have, and I'm being pretentious, maybe you haven't, so this isn't going to be useful. But it's basically a newsletter that you get in your email, and you get every week, or maybe sometimes a lot longer, you get a letter in your inbox that is an excerpt from Dracula, and it's the full text, but you receive it and read it in real time, because Dracula is supposed to be like sort of an epistolary novel and like a collection of found text. It's kind of the ancestor of the found footage in a way. But yeah, you just, so every time there's a date in the book, for instance, I have it right there. Chapter 1 is Jonathan Harker's journal, and it starts on the 3rd of May. So on the 3rd of May, you would get what Jonathan supposedly wrote on the 3rd of May, and then the next journal entry is on the 4th, so you would get the rest of his journal on the 4th, and sometimes he doesn't write for 2 weeks, so you don't get anything for 2 weeks, but you sort of follow along the story in pseudo real time, which is kind of fun, and a lot of people have gotten into Dracula because of this. And one of my projects was to follow along with that and make an ASMR video every time Dracula Daily updates, and every time you get your letter in your email. And I don't know, I thought it would be fun, and that some people might want to follow along. I just thought it could be fun, most recent book that I bought, and I haven't read it yet because I have so many things to finish reading before that. I have to finish reading some books for school next year, and I have to finish reading just for my own enjoyment. This is how you lose the time well, which I know everyone has been talking about it for like months, but I only finally got around to reading it this week, so I have to finish this before. Anyway, this is the last book that I bought. It's called Some Desperate Glory by Emily Tesh. It is a big one, but that's also because it just went out, so it's technically paperback, but it's the equivalent of a hardback. Like it's the first big edition. But it's a sci-fi story. And I haven't read it yet, so I don't even know if it's good yet, but it had some good reviews, and I like the title, which is from A Very Beautiful Poem by Wilfred Owen, about war, so not very happy once again, but it should be a good book. And also, I don't know, the cover was very satisfying, pastel, and very soft. I don't know if you can hear it, but it is very soft. And apparently it's masterful and audacious storytelling, but that's what they all say. So, but since I haven't read it, I can't tell you much about it. But I can read you the little presentation that's on the back. So it says, all her life, Care strained for the day she can avenge the destruction of planet Earth. Raised on Gaia Station and alongside the last scraps of humanity, she is one of the best warriors of our generation, the sword of a dead planet. Then Command assigns her brother to certain death and relegates her to the nursery to bear sons, and she knows she must take humanity's revenge into her own hands. Alongside her brother's brilliant but seditious friend and a lonely captive alien, Care must escape from everything she's ever known. If she succeeds, she will find a universe far more complicated than she was taught, and far more wondrous than she could ever have imagined. Some Desperate Glory is a thrillingly told space opera about the wreckage of war, the family you find, and the path you must forward when every choice is stripped from you. This standalone novel is the highly anticipated debut from Astounding Award and World Fantasy Award winner Emily Tesh. So, it sounds pretty good, right? If you like sci-fi things, which is why I picked it up. And I might make a video to review some books I read, if that's something that could interest people. So maybe when I've read it, I can tell you about it, tell you if it was audacious storytelling or not. But yeah, this sort of concludes all the books I wanted to show off. And this video is already pretty long, I didn't realize. So